This Steve Jones Show podcast is now loading. The Steve Jones Show podcast is presented by Sunbury Motor Company, Purdy Insurance, Brewers Outlet, and NIL Game Changers. Bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Purdy Insurance, Brewers Outlet, NIL Game Changers, and Sunbury Motor Company. Now from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
And great to be with you on this Tuesday. And good start for Penn State. It's interesting that going into this game, look, you're always going to get taught, okay? It depends on what side wants to do the talk. And I understand where West Virginia is coming from. You're coming off a good season, which they had, 9-4. They have the entire offense, not the entire offense, almost the entire offense back. Quarterback, both running backs, tight end, 4 of the 5 offensive linemen, 3 of their top receivers to go with a couple of transfers. Home game. I mean, they've got a lot going for them in this particular game. A lot going for them. And I get it. That, you know, get the crowd riled up at home. They're going to be nationally ranked. And Penn State just went about its business, kept its mouth shut. Didn't say anything about anything. Except, they're good, which they are. West Virginia is going to win the games this year, believe me. They will be winning a fair amount of games because I think they're a good team. And that's the part that is impressive in all this. Because I think they're a good team. But Penn State's is better. But Penn State didn't have to say that. They didn't have to go out and say they're better in this game. It's played. And for West Virginia, as I said in the fourth quarter of the game, I said, Jack, they threw all their eggs into this basket. I mean, they threw every egg they had into this basket. I said, this has to be demoralizing. And I think it was, Todd. I thought it was demoralizing for them.
I think it also says more about, people got to be happy. It says more about Penn State than it does West Virginia, I think, as well. Look, West Virginia is a team that a year ago averaged like 449 yards a game. They had 228 yards in the game. They averaged 229 yards a game rushing. They got 85. They took away everything that West Virginia wanted to do. The MO for West Virginia, Penn State took away over and over again. Just took it away. They want to play with the lead, never led. They want to run the football, couldn't run the football. They want to work the clock, couldn't work the clock. They had 12 drives in the game. 6 of them were 3 or fewer plays. I mentioned going into the game the scenario of Florida State getting 7 possessions against Georgia Tech. I said Penn State needs to avoid that. They need to be at 12. How many possessions did Penn State have in the game? 12?
Yep. Now, don't sit there and think, oh, wow, 12's about when you chart as many games as I have charted in my career, I know what the neighborhood of the numbers should be, okay? Because that's my job. Okay, that's my job. When I prepare for the next game, that's part of what I do. Is that when I'm charting field position, it also tells me how many drives. Okay? That's why it wasn't some mystical deal I pulled off here. It's just going back and all the charts I've done over the years and all the box scores I've gone through. That's why. Okay? And Drew Aller looked like a second-year starter where the game has slowed down for him. Trey Wallace, I had felt going in. I think I said this on the air last week, didn't I, Todd, that Wallace had the best preseason of any receiver since Jahan Dotson?
Yes.
All right. And it looked it. The key for him is staying healthy. I mean, that's the key. He needs to stay healthy because he has all the talent. Liam Clifford had a great preseason. People are like, oh, you didn't catch a ball in the first game. There's one football, guys. Well, they were able to exploit what they needed to with other guys. Julian Fleming, he didn't catch a ball either. Can't just look at the stats. You got to look at the total game. The two of the touchdowns Fleming plays a huge role in. On the first touchdown to Wallace, he runs and splits the D and then breaks it to the outside. And because he ran that route precisely and as hard as he did, they went with him. And it opened it up for Wallace. Same thing happened on the Warren touchdown. Fleming ran such a great route on that play. He took two guys with him, and it completely opened it up for Warren from the touchdown pass from Bo Prabula. Singleton was over 100 yards. Penn State had 4 plays of 40 yards or better. Not just 20 yards or better, 40 yards or better. And it was, and then defensively, I mean, look, there's 3 key stats you always look at in these games. Did you win giveaway, takeaway? Penn State's a +2. They had 3 to the 1 fumble early in the game. Check. Okay. Did Penn State win the big plays? Check. Did Penn State win the middle 8? Check. It may have taken a long time to win the middle 8. 2 hours and 19 minutes to win the middle 8, but they did. And look, that's what you're looking to do. That's what you're looking to do in a game like that. That's the kind of domination you're hoping to have in a game like that. They never trailed. They played with the lead. The sequence at the end of the first half, they run the play with. See, this Andy did a great job of setting up. And this is something else we talked about. It's not just, we're going to get big plays, chuck it up there. Like, no, you can't. That's not what you do. You set up big plays. You set them up. And the play to Evans, they get the ball back. What's the first play they ran in the drive? A run by Singleton. Well, what does that make West Virginia think? They're running out the clock. West Virginia makes an incredible tactical mistake, which Jack pointed out right away. What coverage were they in when Evans made the catch? Man. What coverage should they have been in? Cover 3. Okay? Cover 3 dares you to throw deep because they want you to throw deep because we've got 3 deep zone and we're going to cover it. They were in man coverage. That's inexplicable. I mean, that's the stunning part. And a little bit of jousting. Evans makes the catch. Then Drew makes that terrific throw to Trey Wallace, who makes a terrific catch. And suddenly, boom, like that, you got a touchdown. And they open the second half with that drive. And again, this goes back to the experience of being on the job as long as you've been on it. It's the third time in my career where I broadcast a game where there was a delay. And each time, the team that came out of the delay and scored first is the one that automatically garnered the momentum and won the game. Each time. And that's exactly what Penn State did. They went right out, got the ball to start the second half, scored on that drive. Singleton had the 40-yard run. Give Aller credit. Aller had a career-high 40 yards rushing in the game. A career-high 44 yards rushing in the game. And he picked up 3 critical first downs running. I could be really cool, though, and say, he picked up all these plays using his legs. Cool football term. Or he ran. Okay, so.
I hope he always uses his legs.
Yeah, it's like, okay, he uses his legs when he throws, too. So he was able to run the ball, and as I pointed out, even last year to this year, Drew Aller, point A to point B, has very good speed. He's not a burner. He's not like the Anderson kid, the Lucian Anderson kid, the backup quarterback for Bowling Green. I mean, that guy's got, he's got wheels. Bo Prabula, he's got wheels. But point A to point B, when Drew runs in a straight line, and he can make a little move here or there, he actually is much quicker than people realize. And that is and that made a big difference. Now you have to honor that. You have to honor that when you play him. And, Warren, I think Warren's one of the, he and Loveland from Michigan are the 2 best tight ends in this league. I know Warren only had the 1 catch for the touchdown from Bo, but look, this is one game. You're going to have a whole bunch of games to spread the ball around to a lot of people. That's why I don't get too worried about stats. I just want to see results. And I felt that they went out and they put up a result, which is what you want. You want a result. They got that. They won the game. And they won the game. Penn State, by the middle of the second quarter, it was obvious who the better team was. And Drew Aller did not need to cover his ears to hear Andy. Brian Tripp made that report from the sideline. What does that tell you?
Took the crowd out of it pretty quick.
Yeah. They were no factor. Nope.
They're going to get up at 4 a.m. next time.
You know what? I think it became obvious to all of them. Uh-oh. Like, by the middle of the second quarter, there was trouble in River City. And they knew it. The matchup just wasn't right for them. And again, if they can't run the ball, it becomes an issue. And they couldn't run the ball. Sometimes it's that simple. They're not built. I know they came from behind in the Houston game last year, but they're not really built to come from behind. And that's why you knew if you could get up on them, it would make a big difference. And they did. So it's just a really good opening win. You need a starting point. That's your starting point. This team has gone about its business. They really they have a collegiate professional attitude on this team. Now, what does that mean? Sure does sound cool. But what I mean by a collegiate professional attitude is that, hey, they'll jump around, they'll kid around. Things will get loud and emotional at practice on both sides when they're doing competitive drills and things like that. But when it comes time to work, they work. And they don't need to talk. They don't need to talk. So there's not going to be any bulletin board material coming out of that locker room because that's just not what they do. So, yeah. Northwestern, by the way, is the new athletic director. Derek Gregg was reassigned back in June. They have hired Mark Jackson, who will leave Villanova to take that job. Interesting. So.
I was going to say, I almost asked a dumb question. No, you didn't see it. You were sitting at West Virginia. But did you see any highlights from the Northwestern game?
I did not.
That field looks beautiful with the way they set it up in practice.
Yeah.
Out over the lake.
Yeah.
We talked about how pretty it was going to be. It's real pretty.
Oh, yeah. No, wait till they get to October.
Yeah.
I've been there in October. You're sitting up in the press box, and now Ryan Field, right now is rubble. While they've cleared it away, they're starting to build the new stadium. It's going to be 35,000 seats. But I would sit in the old press box there before broadcasting a game. You look out the Grosse Pointe Lighthouse and Lake Michigan, and all the trees turned. That's pretty cool. It's a great view. Great view.
That was honestly one of the first things I said to my brother when Penn State joined Big Ten. I'd love to get out and see a game at Washington on the lake, too.
Well, I'm anxious to do that at some point in my career. I really am. To see Oregon and Washington. I've never been to those two places. I've been to a lot of places, but not those two. I've been to 42 states. Those are two of them I've never been to. So yeah, with the boats all parked at the one end of the stadium, it must be quite the sight. It'll happen. I think Penn State goes out there in 2026. 2 years. 2 years they go out there. So, yeah. Next year's the Rose Bowl. Then I think it's Washington. And the year after that's Oregon. But that'll be neat. Now, I do know when Penn State basketball comes out with the conference schedule, right, there's a couple things I do know. One is people had wondered if Penn State would play the West Coast trip in December or in 2025. That will be in 2025. That's, the other parts, it's up to them to release, but that part I can tell you. Because they did ask, and I told you that they did ask Penn State about, hey, would you be willing to go out there in November? And Penn State, and the basketball team said, yeah, we'll do it. So I did tell Dick Girardi that. He goes, oh, good. Now the other parts that I know of, I've got to keep that to myself. But, I don't think it's any trade secret to sit there and go, it's in the 2025 portion of the schedule. That's rather open-ended. All right. We'll take a break. Opening half hour brought to you by Purdy Insurance. Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. Got a really nice email or text from Bill Purdy before the game on Saturday. Auto Home Life, both business, motorcycle, RV, whatever your insurance need happens to be, they can take care of it at Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com and News Radio 1070 WKOK.
Party time, game time, or just fun time. Doesn't matter what time it is because it's Brewers Outlet time. The Beverage Supermarket has the area's largest beer selection. Imports, microbrews, ciders, and domestics. Pick from over 100 ice-cold 12-packs and dozens of 24-ounce singles. Soda, snacks, hot sauces, fresh roasted peanuts. Make it one-stop party shopping, and don't forget the pickle bar. So whatever you're celebrating or just doing it up, Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street, Sunbury wants to see you. And thank you for your years of patronage.
Hi, this is Season. For over 100 years, the Purdy Insurance Agency has been protecting families and businesses of the greater Susquehanna Valley and beyond. With the experience of our trained and knowledgeable staff, you can rest assured that your needs will be evaluated and met by some of the industry's best representatives. No matter what your insurance needs are, call Purdy Insurance today at 570-286-5855. Visit our website at purdyinsurance.com or check us out on Facebook to see what we can do for you.
You want your young athlete to get the most out of life and NIL. You need a roadmap, a strategic approach. NIL Game Changers help student athletes earn while they learn in their collegiate journey. Driven by former student athletes and coaches who work as NIL sports agents and content media designers, they'll guide both student and family, starting with high school students looking toward college and those already in college. Get a seasoned team of marketing experts with a background in athletics and coaching. Visit NILGameChangers.org, the ultimate destination for name, image, and likeness opportunities.
Bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Sunbury Motor Company, Purdy Insurance, Brewers Outlet, and NIL Game Changers. Now from the Sunbury Motors Studio, here's Steve Jones.
Great to have you with us on the show today. Brought to you by our great friends at Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummels Wharf, and online, sunburymotors.com. Ford, Kia, Hyundai, best in new inventory, great pre-owned inventory with the Sunbury Motors guarantee. Terrific service department that backs it up every step of the way. Inspections, routine, difficult to handle it all. Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummels Wharf, and online at sunburymotors.com. Always great to talk with Rich Scarcella, Reading Eagle and professional extraordinaire. Sir, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jones.
It's great to actually talk to you for a little bit during the game. Oh, wait, we were just waiting.
Waiting out the storm.
I mean, look, this is the third time that this has happened, at least on my broadcast side. Ohio State 2000, the 2017 game with Michigan State in this. What do you think James, as a head coach, learned from an unprecedented situation in 2017 that paid off on Saturday?
Well, he said it. They had a plan because the weather was in the forecast. The stormy weather was in the forecast. They had lined up food, which you may know what they had. We're not sure what they had, but they had food. And I think the fact that they adjusted on the fly, set up places to sit in their tunnel, in the visiting team's tunnel at Mountaineer Field. And I just think, I was talking to several of the players, but I remember Nick Singleton saying that, he was doing a lot of stretching and, guys were just listening to their headphones, listening to music, that kind of thing. I think James Franklin, I'm trying to think, is if he and Terry Smith, I think, are the only staff members, coaches left from 2017. I'm sure they learned a lot, and I'm sure they took notes after that. And obviously, Penn State handled the delay better than West Virginia because they came out in the second half and scored on that opening drive, and that kind of set the tone for the rest of the game.
Right, because I know in the other games I've done, after a delay, the team that scored first has always won. And I mentioned that on the broadcast, that it was important which team could get out of the gate. Overall, what did you like about Penn State's performance that sets a foundation?
Oh, there's a lot to like. I mean, my goodness. Let me see where I could start. Drew Aller, I thought, looked freer and looser than he did most of last season. I think Trey Wallace played like he said he was and like a lot of people said he would. I think Amari Evans making that contested deep catch. I like the fact that Penn State was aggressive at the end of the first half and scored a touchdown with 6 seconds left in the half. I like the fact that Nick Singleton had 2 40-yard runs when he didn't have any last year. I like the way the offensive line blocked and protected Drew Aller and Bo Pabula. Defensively, I loved how they stopped the run. And there's not one player, there's not 2 players who you could say he's the main reason. I love the fact that they shut down West Virginia's running game because West Virginia is so good at running the football. I mean, and then K.J. Winston and Jalen Reed, they showed everybody the type of safeties that they're going to be this season.
So now we flip it to the other side. On James Franklin's cleanup list, what does it you want his football team to clean up to be better?
Oh boy, let me think.
I mean, I'll start with the penalties.
Penalties is number one. Yeah, they've got to. I mean, in a close game, that many penalties could decide the outcome. That's first and foremost. They need to kick the ball better across the board. We weren't sure way up high, and I don't know how you felt, like if Gabe Nwosu was trying to hit short kickoffs or he just wasn't hitting them right. It was hard to tell. I know Riley Thompson, can punt better, and Xander Sahadak was, perfect on extra points, but he missed that long field goal. So yeah, I think they can. Those are the 2 things in my mind that they can do better. 2 things that stick out.
Yeah, because it's not just the penalties. A penalty happens during a play. I got it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the pre-snap stuff where they jumped offside, and they had that one out of bounds play where Abdul Carter got hit. I mean, that's the part that I think any coach sits back because those are the self-inflicted ones. The other ones just happen.
Yeah. I think Abdul Carter was frustrated because, again, his first game at defensive end, he was often being double-teamed. He was being held at times, which goes with the territory. This isn't complaining about officials or anything like that. It goes with the territory. They're not going to get every holding call. And I just think he got frustrated, and I think that's probably why he popped the guy out of bounds. Because, the game was decided more or less. And, but again, in a close game, that could be a big, big penalty.
Rich, they have 4 plays of 40 yards or better in the game. What kind of job in play calling did Andy Koltonicki do to set up the big play opportunities?
I wish I was smarter than most when it comes to X's and O's. So I'll try to say this in layman's terms. I don't recall a wide receiver running as open as Trey Wallace did on that touchdown pass, that crossing pattern last year. I don't remember. Maybe I'm wrong. I just don't, in my head, I don't remember seeing that last year. So that's one. 2, Nick Singleton's 2 40-yard runs is a very, very encouraging sign, not only for him, but for the running game and the offense. And I know the touchdown run early in the third quarter, there was motion, and the motion took a linebacker with, I can't remember who was in motion, but regardless, it took one of those linebackers out of the box. And as soon as Nick made that one cut, somebody got a hand on him, and that was it. And he was gone. And so I think what Andy does, he puts defenses on their heels. It's clear, and he does it in a lot of different ways. We haven't seen half the things he's going to be doing. I'm sure. Some of the things that we've seen on video that he did at Kansas. So yeah, I think as a first game, a few people picked West Virginia or thought it was going to be a close game because it was his first game as offensive coordinator and Tom Allen's first game as defensive coordinator. And I was thinking the same thing before James Franklin said yesterday. I thought the defense was sort of overlooked, and that's natural. I mean, it happens. But I think talk about a smashing debut. I think both Andy and Tom had smashing debuts in their first games at Penn State as coordinators.
Yeah, that defense, West Virginia last year, and this is, again, 4 of the 5 offensive linemen back, Taylor the tight ends back, Fox, Clement, Gallagher back as wide receivers, Donaldson, White back as running backs, and Green at quarterback. I mean, that's an experienced group. So they averaged 229 yards rushing per game last year.
Third in the
country. They got 85 in this game.
Yeah. And I mean, it was really impressive. And I'm going to shout out the D tackles because I thought they played very, very well. And the linebackers, but really the D tackles, I'm not going to name all 5 or 6, but the point is they played really, really well against a veteran offensive line, a good offensive line, and a really, really good running game. And that's very encouraging for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Then there's Drew Aller. Did you get the sense that in being now a second-year starter, that the game slowed down for him after the first series and a half?
I just think he looked more decisive. He looked freer. He looked more relaxed, more comfortable. Whether the game significantly slowed down for him or not, whatever the reason was, whether it was a different offensive coordinator, we have to ask him. I just think he looked in complete command throughout the game. And I know a lot of people talk about the back shoulder pass, the touchdown pass to Wallace at the end of the half.
Right.
That sideline pass, I'm trying to think, was it on that drive for like 17 or 18 yards to Wallace? And he was covered closely. There aren't many quarterbacks in this country who can make that throw.
Right. Saw him make a lot of back shoulders last year in practice, but not in games. The seed in the game was really a big plus for them. Moving forward.
I mean, Steve, they 457 yards, whatever it was. Tyler Warren was almost an afterthought,
right?
And he's going to be productive. That they're going. Right. I mean, you can only the ball. Only so many people can touch the ball. The same thing. With the wide receivers. Julian Fleming is going to be a part of this offense.
No doubt.
In a receiving way, he did a terrific job blocking. So, I think it was a great start for Penn State, a very promising start.
Well, there's the other part too is you look at the stats on Katron Allen and go, boy, they got to get him going. But if you're there and you're watching the game, his blitz pickup was outstanding. Nick, he was a big reason some of those plays happened.
He did a great job, and I know Nick did. There was one play in the first half that Nick picked up a linebacker and just stood him up.
Yes.
And those two guys, and then they both caught a pass, Katron for a touchdown. James Franklin and Jaywan Sider have talked about the two of them becoming complete backs, and that was on display Saturday.
All right, so now they go forward from here, and they've got Bowling Green this week. Is this more now of a test of maturity of the team that you want to get better, and you can't play down to anybody?
It is. I would agree with you on that. It's let's see how you react to an impressive road win. Over a pretty good team. You have two, Bowling Green from the Mid-American, by Kent State from the Mid-American. Yes, this is going to test their focus, their maturity, their discipline these next 3 weeks. Even the bye week, and really, they should be 5-0. Before they make that trip to Los Angeles to play USC on October 12th.
Will you be able – I'm going to guess you're going to come in Saturday morning because you want to watch Peacock Friday night. And you're not rooting for the Philadelphia team.
That would be correct.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Beginning last year, I don't come up anymore on Friday nights.
Yeah.
So, but I'm hoping the Green Bay Packers run the football a lot, and the game ends pretty quickly, and it ends up with a green and gold victory.
What do you think about, now I know this is not the Packers' home game, it's Philadelphia's home game. What do you think about the overseas games that the NFL plays? I'm with you.
I hate it. I especially what I read this morning, Steve, where the NFL is telling the players to stick to their hotels for safety reasons.
Right.
So what are they telling the fans who are making the trip there? I don't understand it. I don't. Somebody who knows marketing better than me, which is a lot of people, is going to have to explain that to me, but I don't like it one bit. You could grow the game. Yeah, you could grow the game by showing the games on American soil around the world. Maybe if you play one game in Europe, I get, but I don't get this one at all. I just don't understand it. I'm not smart enough to understand it, I guess.
No, I don't feel like I am either, because, and here's my issue with it. The only reason that the game is as popular as it is are the fans in this country.
No question.
Right. And in this case, Green Bay's not the one losing a home game. Philadelphia is. Mm-hmm. Well, haven't the Philadelphia fans, like Green Bay fans, been loyal to a fault?
Yes.
Great season,
yes.
Bad season. Aren't they the ones that are supposed to get rewarded with an extra game, an extra opportunity to see the team play, as opposed to, we're going to Brazil? I mean, that's the part that makes no sense to me. We have to stop backhanding people in this part of the world because we want to promote something in another part of the world. That's why they created the preseason.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. Yeah, like why take a regular season home game away from Eagles fans who are as loyal as any in the NFL, and why not just send a preseason game to Brazil? That's a great point, Steve. And it just I don't understand it. I really, really don't understand it, especially when, like, God forbid something happens to one of the players, one of the coaches, one of the support staff, or one of the fans, because they're obviously worried about the safety of these people in Brazil. I mean, I don't understand it at all.
Yeah. Well, I always appreciate you and understand you, so that's good enough for me. Hey, always a pleasure, Rich. Thanks for all the time today. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure, as always. I'll see you Saturday.
Rich Scarcella, Reading Eagle. It's, I don't get, it's the overseas thing. I don't get it. I mean, when Penn State did it in Dublin, it was because Penn State was not supposed to go to a bowl game. Okay? Well, Bill O'Brien set this up so they could go to a bowl game. That would be their bowl game. Now, it turned out that Bill wasn't the coach, James was, and it turned out that 3 weeks later, Penn State got the ability back to go to a bowl game. But that's what it was about. Right? This makes no sense to me. And it never does. The England games make no sense to me. The Germany game makes no sense to me. I know that when Peter King went to Germany, he was just taken aback by how much they loved the game over there. But this is... to me, this is a backhand to the people who made you who you are. People who made you who you are are the American fans. Okay? you're where you are today because of the American fans. I mean, you want to play a preseason game down there? Go for it. That's great. Yeah. I mean, fans don't want the preseason games on their ticket package anyway. I mean, that's me. I just think that it's all wrong to do that because you can't keep sacrificing the American fan because you're trying to grow some other fan base. Sorry. All right. Back with more in a moment on News Radio 1070 WKOK.
Party time, game time, or just fun time. Doesn't matter what time it is because it's Brewers Outlet time. The beverage supermarket has the area's largest beer selection. Imports, microbrews, ciders, and domestics. Pick from over 100 ice-cold 12-packs and dozens of 24-ounce singles. Soda, snacks, hot sauces, fresh roasted peanuts. Make it one-stop party shopping, and don't forget the pickle bar. So whatever you're celebrating or just doing it up, Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street, Sunbury wants to see you. And thank you for your years of patronage.
When car repairs get difficult,
Well, I just don't know.
Me neither.
we get good. Sunbury Motors. More than quality new and used cars, Sunbury Motors specializes in complicated auto repair diagnosis. They can handle intricate repairs and even complete auto body with service open Monday through Friday, 7 till 4. And Sunbury Motors has made simple repairs easy. Maintaining your vehicle is necessary. Finding the time to do it is difficult. Welcome to Sunbury Motors Quick Lane. Just walk in or call ahead. Relax in their remodeled waiting room with Wi-Fi, beverages, and snacks. While Sunbury Motors factory-trained techs take care of your oil change, tire alignments, brakes, and inspections. Quick Lane, 6:30 to 6 Monday through Friday, Saturday 6:30 till 2. Sunbury Motors, Ford and Hyundai, North 4th Street, Sunbury. And Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf. We take the out of auto repair.
Hi, this is Season. For over 100 years, the Purdy Insurance Agency has been protecting families and businesses of the greater Susquehanna Valley and beyond. With the experience of our trained and knowledgeable staff, you can rest assured that your needs will be evaluated and met by some of the industry's best representatives. No matter what your insurance needs are, call Purdy Insurance today at 570-286-5855. Visit our website at purdyinsurance.com or check us out on Facebook to see what we can do for you.
You want a unique way to display your brand. You need a team of seasoned experts to work with. You want to reach customers who buy. You want NIL Game Changers, a versatile consulting agency powered by former student athletes and coaches who work as NIL sports agents. NIL Game Changers will help you build powerful relationships with customers through compelling stories, with student athlete influencers as your leading edge. Finally, we'll equip you with the right media to drive your success home. NILGameChangers.org, building meaningful relationships with your customers.
From the 50 to the end zone pretty fast.
Probably because it wasn't the suit running.
Oh. What we got? Neil Coulong next on the Arthur Smith Bowl.
Yes. In the battle for Arthur Smith's soul.
Yes, the Arthur Smith Bowl. Yes.
Isn't it funny how that works out sometimes in the NFL? He just happens to open against the Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, just out of nowhere. I'll tell you, talk about luck of the draw.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I can't stand when these guys are disingenuous about, wow, that's just the way it worked. Yeah, sure it did. Like the NCAA tournament. Louisville's going to play Kentucky in round 2. Really? That's just the way it worked out on the seeding. Okay, look, don't lie. Okay? Come on. Really? Really? That's how it worked out, huh? Yeah.
It just didn't happen to be for the ratings. It just was a miracle.
Oh, boy. You know what? That's one thing you find out in the length of your career. The frauds are easy to spot. One of the reasons I really love working with the people I work with. They are just great, genuine people. All of them. All right. Neil Coolong, next half hour. This half hour brought to you by Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors, Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummels Wharf, here on News Radio 1070 WKOK.